Welcome to Ulua. You live, you work, you art.
Hello, I'm Carol from Ulua, and I want to first of all thank Alex because yes, the audio was really bad last time, and I've been recording with different mics. I also tried a little one that my niece gave me, but takes so much noise from the ambient and environment. And I am with this one. Let's see how it goes, or well, I will have to buy another one. I don't know. So I hope it goes well. Actually, this is the second time or maybe more, that I'm recording this because of that. But and I also wanted to say that you have to expect maybe some noise from the background because the AC is on. I have a fountain just for you to know. I have a little fountain for my cat to drink water, and well, I have neighbors going up and down, and I'm also sharing this office. So yeah, so I'm doing my best here, and I hope I can make the best for you too, so you can enjoy the episode. But thank you again, Alex, for noticing and commenting. Okay,
Now back to your
so we can
episode.
start now. Okay. Um, I want to talk about three concepts or three things today. One is creativity. We have talked a lot about creativity. We are going to compare it with the two others now and see how they mix together and how they go together um, for better usage, we could say. So, creativity, originality, and innovation. And why I am talking about this? Because I had a discussion with someone the other day and they say, if you are creative, what is that you don't come up with something original? And yes, originality, I don't think is something that we can achieve now in any days because we have so many things, so many information, everything that we really need has been already created. Um, or most of the things that we need have been already created. And I think innovation is kind of difficult to achieve. Sorry, originality nowadays is really difficult to achieve. I don't think there is anything original anymore around us because everything is a copy of a copy or a remake or an improvement from things that we already have. So please let me know if there is actually something new going on. Maybe we could say quantum computing, but it's been in development for 30 years now. So I don't know if that's original, completely original. Um, and there is also a factor for originality. Well, another factor for that's maybe taking us back from originality too. Beside all this information and the content and everything that's around in the internet and in the world. And that thing is um, finance. We could say finance is just a way of saying money. Yeah. We could say money is a huge impediment for originality. And I will be talking, for example, about movies because this is something that everybody knows or series. Um, Nowadays, many people, I think Netflix, it started as something um, that came from the outside of the business of movies and that kind of thing, but now it's mainstream. And mainstream is a term generally used mostly in art. But what is mainstream? Mainstream is, I don't know if you are familiar, I will leave the image here by my side. Um, Mainstream is like if you have ever studied uh, statistics or something like that, or maybe in a school you have seen this Gaussian bell or Gaussian curve or normal distribution, what is called. Um, this graphic, it's like a bell, and you will see what you see in the biggest part of the bell, or the chunkiest part of the bell, we could say. That is the mainstream. That is where most of the people and the things are concentrated. If we are talking about movies, the mainstream is everyone is watching, for example, Netflix. So Netflix would be maybe one of the companies that's in the chunkiest part of the bell regarding this distribution on how people um, on how many people watches movies from Netflix, for example. And in the extremes, you will have maybe other companies like, I don't know, Hulu, Sci-Fi, which are not that well known. And so that's mainstream, the most concentration of people or businesses or companies or whatever it is you are talking about. And in the movies industries, I have to say I'm not a person that works in movies specifically, but this I can gather from things that I hear, things that I've been learning and listening to, and that kind of thing. And when you have a company, for example, Netflix, as I said, it started like a little company, but then it became like mainstream. Right now, is one of the most known and most watched companies. Their products, I mean, they're most watched. In this case, you start to have, like in any company that goes and evolves and that kind of thing, they have, at first they are just creatives that maybe a group of 5 people, or I don't know, that maybe they are working in the basement or something, so they have to be somehow innovative and come up with new things to show to the world and be different and that kind of thing. But the bigger they become, the more difficult it is for them to forget about numbers. So finance is a key factor for a company that wants to grow. And maybe they start forgetting about being original or being innovative or being more creative because they want to make money. And the more they make money, the more investors they can get. And these investors doesn't really care about what, in this case I'm saying Netflix, but I don't know, it could be anyone. This company wants to sell or wants to give to their viewers because they are already mainstream. So who cares? Everything they do or everything they put on their channel or things, it will be watched because they have the the majority of the audience. So these investors, they have put money on the company and they are expecting certain amount of revenue, certain amount of things that will money that will come back to them because they put some money. So they don't really care, as I said, about um, what is going out. In this case, I said Netflix. It could also apply to Disney or I don't know any other company that does movies that we are talking in this case. So money is what is actually managing this creative world, and that is why everything that they have to put on, I will call it TV, but yeah, you know, streaming, uh, it's something risky. So they have to be very aware of what are the things that they are going to to make public for their audience, because otherwise if they put something that is really difficult to understand for the majority of the people, or maybe only 2 or 3 people will watch. They won't have many ads being watched, they won't have revenue from the ads, they won't have revenue from the viewers, and that kind of thing. So it will become a loss for the company. So maybe they can afford to just lose, I don't know, with 2 or 3 things that make available, but all the other have to be profitable enough. So what they do, they take less risks than before, because now they have to sustain their profitability or the profits. And so they start copying themselves and making and remaking the same movies all over again, and making part 2, part 3, part 4, and you start to see that they are all the same, and there's no more originality. Or let's forget about originality. There's nothing new actually, um, in this industry. And I get it. I get it, because they are companies and they want to make money, and that's okay. So uh, and for example, when they were a young company, or they were younger as a company, they were just 2 or 3 people that wanted to get the attention of the investors. So they did something new. But now they have already the investors. They already, maybe they are the same. They are not the same owners. Maybe now they have other owners in the company, and that kind of thing. So that's just business, right? Um, so if you want to come up with something original, innovative, it may not get into the mainstream. It may not get into become known right away, because it's super risky. So if we are going to invest a lot of money, and we are talking maybe about $1 million sometimes, or thousands of dollars, hundreds thousands of dollars here for making certain series, I don't know, comes to mind like Game of Thrones, which was super invested. It had a lot of money on it, on the production and everything. Um, if you are going to be successful with this series, it will be bad for the company. Maybe the company could become bankrupt. I don't know. So yeah, that is why originality, movies in this case, is difficult to get right now. Um, but what happens if we are talking about, um, let's say, writing? Because I had started reading a book that actually I bought it during the pandemics. I have it right here. Um, During the pandemics, I will leave the photo because I don't think you can see it right. It's called, I have it in Spanish, and it's from Kenneth Goldsmith, and Creative Writing. It's called Escritura no creativa en español, in Spanish. Um, and it talks about uncreativity. And at first I thought this is kind of an interesting book, but I had all the prejudice in me because I didn't want to read something that was uncreative. And it's actually his way of marketing this. And I started reading the first essay, and I really liked it, and it's really interesting because I found that he's actually not against creativity, even though he says we shouldn't teach creativity the way we are doing it, that kind of thing. That may be a good point. And as I said, I had a prejudice because I had taught many and given many courses on creativity in companies, and a lot of other places, and also online. And at first I was like, I don't know if I want to really read this book. But as I said, I've gone only on the I've read only the first essay he has. It's a compilation of essays and several things that he talks about. So I think I will be talking more about it when I finish reading them all, maybe in some moment. And he talks about the same. As I was saying, we have also all the information right now everywhere available for everyone, and there's nothing original, even though he said that some authors uh, from the last century they were really angry at him because he said this kind of thing, that creativity is dead and that we have to do things in a different way. So he talks about uncreative writing. What is uncreative writing? According to him, everything is already written. And he also says that writing is like 50 years behind, for example, other arts like painting. Because in painting, we have mixed media, for example, and we mixed different materials, different things. But when you are learning how to write, in generally what they professors or teachers or universities teach you is that you have to be creative, you have to come with something totally original for your book and for your narrative. And he says the opposite. He says everything is already written, and what you can do is take, and here we have to be careful not to do plagiarism because it has legal consequences. That's my point of view. I didn't read that in the book, but not yet at least. For example, he says we can take things that are maybe uncopyrighted from the internet and put our ideas or rearrange them, make them beautiful in another way, which will be not. I do think it's kind of original, um, but maybe will not be a huge breakthrough. But you can take things that have already been done and rearrange them so like they look uh, different. And then is where I say creativity is being used there. It's not that it's uncreative. It's not something completely new, something original, but your creativity is into the work. And also he doesn't dismiss, because at first as I was reading I say, oh, but if you're just copying and pasting things and patching everywhere things, maybe it won't be really good or it won't have a good quality. Because we have to be aware also that quality uh, and the concept you're putting into it and your creativity has to have certain quality and make sense. Those are my words, actually make sense for me. But he says in Spanish he talks about juicio, which I don't think it's the right word to say it, so I think making sense. If I to translate it, I would say make sense and also have a good quality in the end result. So the main idea is you can copy and paste things from other places. You have to rearrange them in a way that makes sense and it also has a good quality. And I think that's creative. I don't think that's uncreative. But anyways, his marketing way of saying uncreativity and so. Anyways, this book is really interesting if you want to read it. I have to say that it's quite old, I guess, like 15 years or maybe more, because I bought it during the pandemics, as I said, and it has been translated into Spanish, so I think it will be really old. And what else? And it doesn't say anything about AI, which is another thing that we have already now. And I think you have to use more of your creativity if you want to stand out, or if you want to come up with something different, maybe is a word. So creativity for me is never out of question, at least not right now, for a couple of years. And I don't think. Um, so yeah. And I watched some ideas from him. Actually, this results were not from him, but from his ideas of this and creative and copy and pasting things. And really good things and creative things can be done. And I will leave a link in the description or in the comments of a PDF that is a result of these ideas that he has. Has not been done by Kenneth Goldsmith, but has been done for another person. I don't remember his name. And what he did is he or she, I don't know, took the terms and conditions from Apple devices and things, and I don't know what else. And he put all the terms and conditions rearranged in a comic way. So he makes he's very skilled at drawing, and it's really interesting. And I really like the comic that he did. Yeah, I went a little bit off topic as usual here. Um, but well, that's the idea. Now I'm coughing and crying. Okay, so I want to share with you about innovation, some ideas, and actually a formula, which I've written an article about it in 2012 approximately. It's really old, but I can find it. I don't know. I have in the process several webs, and so many things I've done have already been lost. But anyways, the idea is to give you this formula that they use for this video game from Firaxis. I think Firaxis is still around, and they are the ones that make the beautiful game Civilization. If you hadn't played it, uh, it's a good one. And they bought the intellectual property from XCOM 1, and then they decided to do the second part of the game, but the game was already kind of old, and there was a fan in the company that was Jake Solomon, and he was the producer of this game. And he decided, I mean, it was not just, oh, okay, I will do this and this and this, but when they did that, they could learn the right formula that they had used, and the game was actually super successful. And in the process, they discovered that the way to get to this innovation was to leave 30% of the product the exact same way it was in the original version. So they started with they say, okay, these features or these basic things we will leave exactly as they are in the new version. We will improve this other 30%, and we will come up with totally different things in the other 30%. Okay, I know I'm counting 90, but you get the idea, right? So a third of each part, a third of um, staying the way it is, a third of um, improving, and one third of pure innovation, we could say originality, however you want to call it. So this formula, I think, can be applied to anything. anything you want to create, anything you want to come up with. If you have a product, for example, and you want to make some innovations on it, or you can improve it, that's a good formula too. You can leave some part of the product the way it already is, a third of it, then improve some other things and come up with new things to try. And why is that? Because we are super used to certain things, and when we like something, we like certain features. I'm sure if you have a product, you will have these metrics that somehow you will say, okay, these are the features that people totally love. Maybe you don't want to change those, and you have other things that for the feedback you have received you want to improve. And then you can say, okay, there's a little space for us to introduce something completely new, and let's see how it goes. So I think that's a perfect formula for almost anything that you are doing, even if it's art. Maybe you have had some feedback, or you are not completely satisfied with your product, or with your painting, with your writing, or wherever it is that you're doing, and you can have this formula to try out and see how it goes. And regarding, for example, movies, I haven't talked about, but why is also that they don't want to innovate, because I just came up with that. I had said in the previous video, I forgot now. And I think that's really important, because these features, as I was saying, that we already love, or the things that people already love about the product, the services, or whatever you are doing, or your art, those things are because they are known to them. And we tend to dislike things that are known to us. That is why, for example, when we see a spider, we want to kill her. Um, that's instinctive, our aversion to something new. And we are not talking about money there. If we are involved in money, is a little bit more difficult, right? As it comes like we can like much more invested in it, and we really don't want to lose anything. And so this natural aversion that we have for something new, we can, for example, in movies, as I was saying, there's a concept that's called trope. We already know these are like patterns, we could say. There are like patterns for movie things or story that we already know that they just work for everything you do. The father against the son against the father, um, going to a new planet and meeting these new structures, discovering a new world and meeting their natives. Those are things that are hundreds, I don't know if thousands maybe, of tropes um, for stories that we already know, and we already know that they work. So that is why we don't want to come up with something new, because if we come up with something totally different, and it comes to mind, for example, well, I have two examples. One that is not that well known and I really like is from science fiction, the series that I'm watching now, so please don't spoil it. It's called The Expanse. And the other one is it's actually not that known, but it has tropes, but it also has really nice components of I could say original things. And also I really like that the characters are deep. They are not just the cute lady or the tough guy. They're really interesting characters. But anyway, that's just me rambling. And the other one that comes to mind is a writer, an author that's quite well known. It's Samuel Beckett. and one of his absurd, I will talk about absurdity because I love it later and in another episode. Um, for example, you have Waiting for Godot, and it's really widely known play of his. It has been played mm, by really well-known actors and actresses and all around the world, so maybe you know it. And those are things that have some components of originality. Actually would say most original we could say is Beckett, and he also has apart from this one, he has several plays that are not that well known. Uh, when you watch them for the first time, you say, "What is this? I don't understand a thing. What is this?" Because it's absurd, completely absurd, different worlds, and so it's not for mainstream. If you were, for example, a person that is betting all your money into doing this play, maybe you will lose because it's something that's only for certain niche or certain people that will really appreciate this nonsense, we could say. Um, so yes, so we tend to go for the known things, the known tropes, the known patterns, the known concepts, the known all the things that we do know, that certainty it gives us, and it takes out the risk, and it takes out this aversion that we have for new things, right? Because even though we say, "Oh, I want to see new things," it's when you are seeing something completely different, it's kind of scary. Anyways, yeah. So we have talked, to recap, about creativity, originality, and innovation, and I think that for everything here, the main word that stands out is creativity. For everything we do, we need to be creative. Even though it's not original, even though it's not an innovation, or to become innovative, you have to be creative. So if you are reusing, if you are rearranging things that have already been done, if you are being or doing this uncreative writing or uncreative art or uncreative books or whatever it is, you still need some creativity to put your work into it, to make it look good and make sense somehow. So I think that's it, and I hope that you can comment on the things that you like. It comes up to mind also another video that I watched about the aversion to originality. Maybe I will leave it too in the description if I can find it. And that's all for now. Have fun and see you in the next episode. Bye bye.
Stay tuned for Ulua's next episode.